October 1st, 1979, the devil comes to video games. What do I mean by that? What else could I mean? Activision was founded in October 1979. Activision was founded when Atari programmers David Crane, Bob Whitehead, Larry Kaplan, and Alan Miller demanded that Atari treat developers better. They wanted their names on the game boxes along with royalties. Crane, Miller, and Whitehead founded Activision in 1979 along with Jim Levy and Richard Muchmore. They would become the first third-party developer. Larry Kaplan joined them not long after. The four programmers made up more than half of Atari's developers. Their departure sparked a lawsuit with Atari that wouldn't be settled until 1982. Capcom was founded in 1979 as well. Capcom's history is a little confusing. As I understand it, Kenzo Sugimoto founded IRM Corporation in 1979. Its name is based off of IRM Corporation, where Sugimoto worked for 5 years, before being forced to resign in 1979 after sales declined as a result of their Space Invaders clone, IPM Invaders. A subsidiary of IRM Corporation was established in 1981 called Japan Capsule Computer Co. Ltd., which is where the Capcom name comes from, Cap from capsule and Com from computer. Also in October 1979, Namco released their first hit game, Galaxian. The game was created to compete with Space Invaders, which launched in the United States in the previous year, and compete it did. While the gameplay is very similar to Space Invaders, Galaxian expanded on it by having one of the alien ships occasionally attempt to suicide bomb the player. In Galaxian, the aliens would come down to attack the player in patterns and in different directions, rather than just straight down like in Space Invaders. The first iteration of Microsoft's Flight Simulator was released in 1979 as well, on the Apple II. Microsoft Flight Simulator was created by Bruce Artwick. It started out as articles about computer graphics. Readers of the articles quickly became interested in purchasing a flight simulator, so Artwick founded Sublogic Corporation to start creating the program. It wasn't called Microsoft Flight Simulator at first though. The first iteration of the program was called A2FS1 Flight Simulator. The program had a few hundred kilometers of flight space and a single plane. Despite that, it grew to be very popular in the 1980s. In November 1979, Atari would release another hit game, this time Asteroids. Asteroids was an arcade game, not a console game, at least not yet. The Asteroids arcade game would end up selling over 70,000 units. Asteroids was designed by Lyle Rains, Ed Logg, and Dominic Walsh. The game was inspired in part by Space War and Space Invaders. If you look at the gameplay, it seems pretty clear that it was inspired by both games. Speaking of gameplay, the player controls a triangle-shaped ship and is tasked with destroying asteroids and saucers for as long as they can, accumulating points along the way. Levels start with large asteroids heading towards the player, and as they're destroyed, they fragment into smaller pieces which are harder to hit, but they score more points. Saucers appear periodically and attack the player by firing at it. Asteroids' legacy is well known by most gamers who grew up around the time. I didn't. When gaming journalists and fans look back on it, Asteroids is almost always included in lists of the best arcade games of all time. And with that, Season 1 of the history of video games is over. Seasons are basically just each decade, that's how I'm doing this. The next season, Season 2, the 1980s, starts on July 18th. So that's a week from today if you're watching it when the video goes live. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything. Follow me on Twitter at Mitten Squad. My name is Paul of Mitten Squad. Have a wonderful day.